Okay, picking back up where we left off. So in the first part of this stream, we were looking at, do I have the right one up? Yes, I do. We were looking at finishing off our settings modal. We added on to the modal, we added on a message that the credentials are okay. We also, and then we started to actually verify the token if the user hit the save settings button. And so now, just to remind you, with the save settings, we looked at the payload from get authenticated, pulled out the login, which is the name of the person who created the repo, or excuse me, created the token, their GitHub login name. Then we took that login name and checked if it matched to the username that was stored in local storage. And if it does, we pass back true. If it doesn't match, we pass back -1. And we'll either pass back an error or undefined for get authenticated if the token doesn't match. So we have 3 possible values: undefined, true, or -1. So now we have to finish building out the save settings button. So we get back the value using an asynchronous function. We await the value, so we stop or pause code to get this value to make sure that we have it, and then we're going to run it through our if else. So the other thing that we did was these are the things that we're going to be targeting. If it's totally correct, we're going to turn on the credentials. If the token is incorrect, we're going to turn on the token error message. And if the username is incorrect, we're going to turn on the user error message. So if we get back true, that means that both the token and the username are correct. So we're going to change our save settings button to a success color to indicate that, and we're also going to turn on those credentials. We're going to make sure that the other thing we have to do is make sure that if any of the error messages were on before, they get turned off. So we're going to then say credentials message and alter the style. So remember, right now, if we look at the modal, look up here at the settings, if it's logged in correctly, or when we first turn on, the logged in is set to a visibility of hidden. So we want to change that visibility. So what we're going to do, so we're going to say style, and then the style that we want to change is the visibility. I often make a mistake with this one. I keep thinking it's display, but it's not. It's visibility. And so then we're going to set the visibility to visible. All right, so that's going to turn on that green message. Let's make sure that the other two, the user error message and the token error message, are both hidden. So we're just going to do the same thing. User error message, style. Actually, let's do it this way. User message and token error message. And then we can go ahead and add the same thing to both of them. So what we want to do is we want to say style, visibility is equal to hidden. And I want to tighten this up. All right. No, actually I like it better the other way. All right, so for right now, that's all we have to do if it's true. So now we have to take care of the case of getting a -1 back. So a -1 coming back means that the username is incorrect. So we're going to say else if, and then we want to say if the error check is equal to -1, and again, that's going to be a problem with the username. So at that point, we want to turn on the user error message. So user visibility is going to be visible. If this comes back, the other thing is that the token, if there was before this an error in the token, then we have to make sure that is also that the error message for that is turned on, or excuse me, turned off. So we want to say token error message style visibility hidden. And then I doubt that there's any reason that the credentials would be on at this point. I suppose we could hide that as well. The only other thing that I want to do is if the user is incorrect, let's go ahead and just remove it from storage. We're not going to zero out the value of the field because the user might want to go ahead and make an edit. Say they added an extra character on the end. Just going to check my stream really quick. Seem to be okay. So let's just go ahead and remove that. So local storage, remove item, and then we want to remove the settings username. Okay, so now that'll be cleared out, and until they change that and resubmit, we're not going to have that following, creating a problem. Actually, let's make sure that that the credentials is hidden. Doesn't hurt. All right, and then so now we have to handle the final potential case of undefined. So else we want, I guess, we don't know about the user, so we're not going to say anything about that, I guess. Instead, we're going to change this to visible. Let's make sure that the credentials message is hidden. And let's move this up. Take care of all our visibility and then take care of our local storage. And then say local storage. In this case, we'll remove the token. Settings token. All right. So now that's taken care of the save settings. I guess in the cancel settings button, I guess for right now, let's just go ahead and remove any error messages, or do we leave them turned on? I guess we leave them turned on until the person goes back in and corrects whatever errors they got back. Or is it enough to say that you need to see the... I guess we'll just leave them. And then, do we need to do anything for the clear? Let's make sure that those, the error message and the credential message are all hidden. So we're just going to copy this whole block. And we're just going to change this one to hidden as well. Okay, let's save that. Let's go back to GitHub, or excuse me, to Pinegrow, reload that app. That's interesting. For some reason it pulled my GitHub up on my, or excuse me, my Pinegrow up on my other screen. Let's resize that. Okay, settings. I don't think, actually we didn't do anything for this yet, right? No, we didn't. Okay, so let's just check. So these credentials are correct. So when I hit save settings, we should get that green credentials message popping up. These credentials are valid, and saves the settings. If I hit cancel, go back in to our settings, still says these credentials are valid. I think that's a good way to do it. I think we're gonna, or do we want to turn this back, keep this as, yeah, I guess if it put the, yeah, I think that should be fine. So let's see what happens if we hit clear settings. Clear settings. Okay, the credential things go away. Close this out. We're good. One thing that I happen to think about is if we hit clear settings and then hit cancel, we actually don't want it to clear the settings out, right? So if we hit cancel and then go back in, it is going to save that. But if we hit clear, I guess clear is just non-revocable, I guess. All right, I guess that's okay. Let's just make sure that this stays green if the credentials are good, and let's re-enable this, or let's enable this show token. So go back here. All right. So let's, on the cancel, really I don't think we need to add anything then. I think we can get rid of this event listener. Yeah, let's just get rid of it. And then that means that we don't need to bother grabbing the button. So we can go back and decide if later on that we really do want to make the cancel button reestablish these guys or not. Huh. The more I think about it, the more I think it should. So let's undo that. Put this back. We're going to get rid of this. And and we're going to say so once we hit the clear, that's going to go away. So basically we have to save these, I think. I guess actually we'll get them back down here. Let's grab this. All right, so if somebody hits the cancel button and they've basically cleared out the values, actually, do we have to do a double check on this? Let's say or. So I was just thinking, I mean, we want to give the person, the user, the ability to save either their username or their token. Say they forgot one or the other, and then go back and fill the rest in later. So I want to say if either of these have been filled in, then is that going to throw an error then, though, if one of them's undefined? Overthinking things this morning, I think. So here all I'm doing is adding a little checking. Since here I'm now saying either one of these can be filled out, but it doesn't have to be both, what I'm doing is checking before I set this value to see if this exists, and if it does exist, then set it to this. If not, set it to a blank. It's going to do the same here. Oops. Copy that. Set it to a blank. Okay, so then down here, I guess we're going to do almost the same thing. So we're just going to grab this and put it down here within the cancel setting button function. I'm just going to put there. So again, we're going to say if they hit cancel and they cleared it out, we're going to get these items. Oh crap, I just realized we can't do that because they would have been cleared out when we hit the clear, because it removes the item. So we're going to have to grab those outside. All right. So we're going to have to conditionally set these outside so we keep our scope. So we're going to say let that equal this. And let this. Okay, so now we have those stored temporarily. And now instead of this, we can say actually we don't even have to bother, because these are going to be set to blank, so we can move this out of an if. Neaten that up. Oh, because it's not closed, sorry. So value equals settings username. And then the count token field value is equal to settings token. Okay, so that's going to fill in our values, either the actual storage item or a blank. And then I guess what we can say is down here, username field. No. Settings username. So if that doesn't so if either of those are not equal to a blank, then go ahead and let's set those. So then we can say local storage. And this is going to recreate either the username or the token as a blank but I think that's going to be okay. I don't think it's worth parsing out to only add one or the other depending on which one is non-blank. And then we're going to say settings username. And then do the same with the token. Get rid of these two. And then we want to set the values, I guess, within there back to, I guess we don't have to because they're going to be repopulated when we come in here. So I think that's enough then. Okay, so that makes me feel a little better. If coming into this we had either a username or a token already stored away, we hit clear, then we realized, oh, didn't mean to do that. Hit cancel. That's going to restore those back into our into local storage. I guess the only thing to worry about is if the user is using cancel to close out that modal instead of the closing X. That means each time that they try and clear out, they're going to cause that problem. But I think that'll be okay. We'll see how usable it is when we get to it. So now the only other thing that we need to do is we need to change that or add functionality to that show our password. Where is that? Show token. So gh show token. So I guess the best place to add that would also be within the I guess within this same thing. So let's go ahead and grab that. So next thing that we need is to grab that one. I don't actually, are we going to use it more than once? Yeah, I guess so. So let's show token. Let's show token equal get element by ID, and then it's gh show token. So now we have a reference to that. Let's go ahead and set that up here. So show token. Add an event listener. Let me just look one thing up. 1 second. What is the best way to do this? What is the best way to do this? So I'm not sure what the best way to listen for a checkbox change is. So we're just gonna on change, I guess. Oh, they're saying use an on click. All right, here's more what I want. Is there in JavaScript, is there an on change? There should be an on change event. Hate W3 schools. Okay, so we can so I guess we don't have to add it as just not sure the best way to do this. On click, I wanted to do it as all right. Didn't really want to add it as a separate function. Let me just look up one more thing. Listener, duh. Then types. Just looking for what exactly I want, and I'm not finding it. Well, let's jump back. I'm probably overthinking this. So again, they're using an on change. Let's see if we can narrow this down. Okay, so change, and then you get this call box or callback, this checked else. Okay, so add event listener. Sorry about that. So if we get a change, then we're just going to call anonymous function. And then we got to check if it's checked or unchecked. So when the box is checked, that element is going to be passed to the event listener. So in this case, we can use this. So we can say if this, and then just ask if it's checked. So if it's checked, then we want to show the token. And so what we're going to do is we need to grab one more thing. So we're going to say, let me just check the name of it. So this one right here, this input has an ID of gh-show-token. Oh, so we already have it. So right now, the way we're hiding our token is oh no, sorry, this is the one we need. Our input is of type password, so we need the gh-token field, which we should already have right here. Let account token field equal get element by ID gh-token. So we actually don't need to grab it. So all we need to do now is we have to say, what is it again? Account token field. Account token field. And we want to change the type. Is that an attribute? Yeah, that's an attribute. So for the attribute, I guess we can just use set attribute. And then if the attribute already exists, it's just going to update the type. So what we can do is we can say if this is, then we want to set the attribute, and then that attribute is type, and we're going to set it to text. So if we look back, our password, or excuse me, our username is of a type of text, whereas our token is of a type of password. Let's move that. Just neaten this up a little bit. All right. So we just want to change this to text. So type, and then, whoops, type of text. And then if it's not checked, so if it gets unchecked, we want to set it back. So we just say account token field set the attribute again type and password. Okay, so that takes care of that. So let's see if it works. Go back to our Pinegrow. Let's go ahead and reload our app. Now that reloaded, pull down our GitHub, go to our settings. So right now we have nothing in there. So we can check if this works. So right now we entered our account token. It's password hidden as a password would be if we want to see what we typed in. All right, there we go. That comes back. So the only other thing that we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit save settings. This is of course going to give me an error saying this token is not valid, but that's okay. supposedly that should have been saved now, both of those. So we'll reopen that up. Okay, so now we say, darn, this is all wrong. Oh wait, that was the correct thing. So if we hit cancel now hopefully when we reopen this back up, our fields should be filled back in with the incorrect values. And they're not. That's fascinating. So, what went wrong? Let's jump back over into our code. Did I get any errors? I did get an error. Oh no, that was just from the OctaKit saying that the credentials were incorrect. So when this got passed back, oh, did I nuke them? Question is, what is now stored? So, just saw one of them. GitHub for is Bodonkey, and where are the? Okay, the token has been removed. The token is not there. Just the name, but the name should have been repopulated. Let's check our programming logic really quick. And then I think we'll probably end up wrapping up. Okay, so it's populating it when, oh, it's only putting these on at first opening. It's only setting our values when it first adds the setting field. So what we're going to have to do is, I guess, reset the values here when it does that. So we're just going to grab these and we're going to add it in here. Okay, so let's try this once more. Okay, close this out. If we load it back in, we see the token isn't valid. If we clear our settings, then realize we made a mistake. Now let's see what we got. Huh. Still, for some reason, did not repopulate that. That's strange. Let me just add local storage remove, blank out the field values, set those to hidden. So our settings username and our settings token should still be good. So let's put a little bit of in cancel. Then let's make sure we get into our if statement. And for the heck of it, we'll log each of these. Is that right? GH settings, yeah. Okay, let's check out what we get now over in Pinegrow. Reload. Okay, I'm going to bring the, once it opens up here, bring our console over. Let's go into the console, let's clear this out. So we're going to get an error. That wasn't smart. Let's make Pinegrow smaller. And make our console smaller so we can see them both. Alright, so pull this up, settings. So we are not populated right now, so let's go ahead and we're not going to bother to add anything in for the personal account token. Hit save settings. It says token is not valid. Okay, so I guess save settings. So we look at the save settings. It sets each of those. So now if I go out of this, go back in, I think that's there. Let's go ahead and test save settings. So here I'm getting the HTTP error from OctaKit saying that the token isn't good. So now if I say, well, get rid of all of this, oops, did that by mistake, hit cancel, have in cancel, but for whatever reason, it's not going, it's into this cancel, but for some reason, this is not evaluating correctly. So let's see. What these are here. Ah, I see. Because when we first come in, until we save, these two fields here are populated with whatever they were before. And if we haven't saved anything yet, then they're not going to save there. So I guess probably this is probably unnecessary, completely unnecessary to do, but no, that's not what I want. I want so I'm setting them in the local storage. You know what? I think I'm going to abandon this because there's too many. This is a little bit too complex because the thing is, we'd have to have two different cancels, right? We'd have to have a cancel for if they wanted to drop back, if they had done a save and wanted to drop back, but also if they wanted to cancel out this clear. So all I'm going to do, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the whole thing. So the cancel settings button is just going to be to close out the modal. It's not actually going to do anything. If they hit save or clear, those are sort of unrevocable. So at that point, the question is, do we get rid of that button from the modal totally? I think we do. we could take this part back. I guess we can leave it. Let's just change our modal, so we'll save that. Let's change our modal and just get rid of the last button. Now we'll leave it as a data dismiss. We'll leave it as a modal. I guess we could even have it as a, change it to a close. All right. Just check to make sure that's still functional. Open this up, settings, Bodonkey, save settings, not valid, close. All right, so right now we should have all of the functionality of our settings done. So I just want to end with a quick thought here. So right now I had made the decision to have this GitHub menu come up as soon as you open Pinegrow, so that you have the ability to create new repos and clone existing repos. And then for the settings, I'm putting them into local storage. The one thing that this means, though, is that we can't have a project by project set of settings, set of token and username, because it's going to be getting them always from local storage, and we don't want to copy over those each time. So I'm thinking what we're going to do is when we get deeper into the creation of some of the actual functionality, when we go in here, I think maybe we could have a checkbox here that allows you to load project-specific settings, maybe a checkbox to say always load project-specific settings, to use these as the default that are stored away. But if there is a JSON file within your project, which we'll write out, that has different settings, go ahead and load those in and clear this out. But we're going to wait until we get a little bit farther in to put that functionality in. Just leave this as it is for right now. All right, so that wraps that up. Hopefully I'm not going to get rained out here, so I can get a lot of my outdoor chores done, plants in the ground, and some other upkeep done, so that I can get another live code session in without feeling bad about neglecting my other chores. As always, please subscribe and give me some feedback. If you hate this, let me know. I seem to be getting decent views, but again, I'm not sure if people are enjoying this, if people think this is silly. If you think my coding is horrible, let me know. I'm trying to improve, and I want to open up a dialogue. And just as a reminder, this is not an official Pinegrow stream. This is just my personal stream, even though I work for Pinegrow. But I do encourage you, if you want to contact me over on the Pinegrow forum within the developers section. I am happy to answer questions there, or happy to answer questions here on my YouTube. Thanks a lot. Until next time.